Great communication begins with connection. And today on Beyond Her Story, we are thrilled to introduce Varsha Samtani, a woman whose story is a vivid illustration of how mastering the art of communication can reshape your destiny. She has transformed her own journey from being a homemaker to an executive communication coach to empowering countless professionals through her coaching at TWI. Varsha has made an indelible mark on the world of corporate communication and leadership training. In today's conversation, let us know more about Varsha's journey and her approach to nurturing leadership and transformative communication designed to help individuals craft their success stories. So, welcome Varsha to Beyond Her Story. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Sneha. It's delightful to be here too.
Yeah, I think we've been having this discussion since quite some time, and I think it's really a pleasure to have you.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here today.
So, Varsha, from being a homemaker to now an executive communication coach, it's really an inspiring journey. So, how did that happen?
So, Sneha, I believe that we live life through default, drift, or design. When I got married, I was very content with my lovely family and my two little girls. That was my default. And then I started drifting. A friend of mine approached me and she said, my husband's starting up this call center institute. And would you like to come and, do some cultural training, sensitivity for the participants? And I thought to myself, why not? Something new. I've lived a large part of my life abroad and I could probably add value to these guys. But when I went in to meet the HR, she said, why don't we try you for communication skills instead?
Okay.
So I did the presentation and sure enough, I got the job.
Wow.
I must say I enjoyed it. It was very gratifying. And then the winds of change started blowing. And here I found myself moving towards back to the family and I stopped training and I joined my husband in the family business.
Okay.
Now, this gave me more time to myself
Yeah.
and more time, of course, to handle things around the family.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I learned so many new things. And I think one thing that I learned and I take back with me is learning graphic design, because that brought out the creative side of me.
Yeah.
And that's what I use today in whatever I'm doing. The winds of change were blowing again and I was drifting. And here I was moving towards voiceovers. I found myself in a studio and here I did 2 audiobooks.
Okay.
And if you look me up on Audible, I'm right there.
Yeah, we'll do that and we'll leave the links too.
Thank you so much. That's really sweet. So now I take up voiceover projects again as well. But then enough of living life and, drifting. I decided to live life by design. And that's when I started up TWI along with my husband. And together we do what we call transformative communication. So we're a leadership coaching and training organization. So we live life through default, drift, and design.
Wow. I think that's really very well put, Varsha. I mean, I think everybody lives like that, default, drift, and design, but nobody realizes it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's really a wonderful way of putting it. So, Varsha, I mean, listening to your journey and your story, how was the transformation for you? Was it easy, or were there moments where you felt, will I be able to do this? And, questions to yourself.
Well, of course, moving from a homemaker into a communications coach space, it can be quite daunting.
Yeah.
So I remember the time when I was practicing for that interview presentation and I had my little girls with me and they were watching me and they said, Mama, you're so good. You can do this, Mama. Go on, do it.
Wow.
They gave me the courage to do this, really. And I believe that it's so important for everyone to believe in themselves and you need someone there telling you that you can.
Yeah.
And for me, it's my very supportive family.
Yeah. I think that's very well put. Like you said, when there is support of the family, there are a lot of things you can achieve, which maybe you wouldn't even have thought of, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, Varsha, now you've had lots of years of experience coaching people in different skills, soft skills, and like you said, communication skills and all that. So you might have met a lot of women during these sessions. So as per your interaction with them, what are the common challenges that women face at the workplace?
So, Sneha, women face very unique challenges in the workspace.
Yeah.
And one of the challenges that I come across very often from my clients is, the ability to balance assertiveness with diplomacy.
Very true.
You're walking a very fine line. You don't want to come across as very aggressive.
Correct.
And you also don't want to come across as too soft.
Yeah,
right?
very true.
So that's where I help women assert themselves better.
Okay.
Now, another issue that we find quite often is, of course, one of not being taken very seriously.
Yeah.
And then there is the eternal work-life balance.
Yeah, I think these are the things that most of the women face and maybe too afraid to speak about it and they don't discuss it often. So Varsha, how do you think that women can overcome these challenges?
So, Sneha, one thing that is so important is to know your value.
Okay.
If you know your strengths and your skills and
Mhm.
what you're bringing to the table, to the conversation, that will give you the confidence to speak.
Okay.
And when you communicate with confidence, others take you seriously. When we talk about handling difficult conversations, you need to tap into the outcome you want from that conversation.
Okay.
All right. So think about TAP.
Yeah, I was wondering how did that come in?
So TAP is T, think through what you're going to say. A, anticipate the reaction. And P, plan your response. With that, no one can throw you off guard.
Okay.
I also tell many of my clients that it's important to tap into the power of storytelling as well.
Yeah. True.
Storytelling is a communication tool.
Yeah.
And you can go deeper when you connect and engage with someone on an emotional level.
Yeah.
And then get your message across.
Yeah.
That's what makes them turn around and recognize your contributions or what you're bringing to the table.
I think that's one thing that is often spoken about, even in the book Lean In, right? Where they say
Yes.
that you need to speak confidently and be a part of the conversations. I think that is the first step where women falter. Like they don't actively participate in
That's
such
right.
conversations. And I think you've nailed it with the TAP. And I really love the acronyms because it's so much easier to
Yes.
remember.
That's right. That's right. Perfect. Yeah.
So Varsha, whether you're jiving at your favorite club and a lot of other fun activities that you do, or giving a leadership coaching to 50 odd people or maybe more than that, you're able to have a very wonderful work-life balance. So how do you manage that?
So I like to think of it more like work-life collaboration.
Okay.
So whether it's jiving or whether it's working, my partner in life and work, we just jive and dance through life together.
Oh, wow.
And that's why it's a collaboration.
Yeah.
So it's not so much about doing everything that you need to do. It's about prioritization. It's about knowing what's important.
Yeah.
It's about knowing what works best for you.
Okay.
So Sneha, for us as women, I think it's really important for us to work with our stress.
Yeah.
Okay. Handle our emotions better. And definitely time management. Many of my clients, and I'm sure your viewers also will feel these are words and we've heard them a million times before and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But can I give you one thing that has worked for me?
Yes, please.
So that one thing that has always worked for me is to do an unrelated activity.
Okay.
Unrelated? Unrelated, right?
Yeah.
So an unrelated activity is something that's not related to work.
Okay.
It's not related to family. It's not related to anything that's something that you need to do, like in your personal life,
Okay.
but something related to you, to what keeps you going, what makes you happy.
Okay.
For me, it's my social dancing and singing at my harmonium.
Wow.
That's what works best for me.
Yeah, yeah.
You could try it.
Yeah, I think each person has their own way of kind of stress reliever, right? Like it maybe, does it shift your thought process and is that why the stress reduces? Like what is the funda behind
So let me give you the funda behind it. So
Yeah.
what happens is you're kind of giving your mind a break
Yeah.
from reality
Correct.
and allowing it to focus on something else.
Else. Yeah.
And have you noticed creative people do this a lot?
Yes. Yeah.
They just give themselves a break and they do their own thing.
Yeah. Correct.
And when they come back, they feel rejuvenated.
Yeah.
It just helps you take life better.
Yeah.
So work-life collaboration.
Collaboration instead of
Yes.
balance. I think that's a better word, actually, to be frank,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Balance, you're always thinking, how do I balance? What do I do?
Yeah.
But I think when you say collaboration, it makes it much easier to blend your work and
Yes,
life.
integrated.
Yeah.
The only thing is that each one of us has a different rhythm.
Correct.
The thing is to find what's yours.
Wow. That's really a wonderful way of putting it again, Varsha. I think your communication coaching thing has. So, I mean, it's like you said, right? Communication is very important. And the way you put it across actually makes you think in a different way. And that is what I have learned from this conversation. Though we know a lot of things, but when you hear certain ways of communication or certain ways of putting it across, I think you are able to absorb it better.
That's true. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Sneha.
I think, we've heard a lot about your journey, right? Now let's learn about who is Varsha and what is the philosophy that you live by.
Yeah. So Varsha is someone who believes very strongly and deeply in nurturing and growth.
That's really deep.
That's something that Varsha believes in. And philosophy, learning and growing. Every day there's a new learning,
Yeah.
and with that learning comes growth. So if you're not learning, you're definitely not growing.
Yeah. I think that is again another topic which we keep speaking about on Wonder Woman Wednesday, you know. One of the things is, of course, upskilling.
Yeah.
And that is what we say, learn, grow, thrive, because that is how it is connected, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful philosophy to live by. And I hope more viewers and listeners of this conversation at least start at step one today and, you know, grow, learn, grow, and thrive.
Thank you so much, Sneha, for having me here today.
Yeah, and just before we go, actually, we'll leave the link to your website in the description. So I'm sure, you know, a lot of people will have a lot of queries about what we have spoken about and may want to learn more about communication and stress management and time management and emotional well-being, right?
That's right.
Thank you so much for coming here and sharing all your thoughts.
Thank you so much, Sneha. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.